Let's be real, folks. When a woman wants an older man, she doesn't flirt. She tests his sexual presence. If you're an older man, you've probably experienced this. A woman becomes warmer around you. Her voice softens. Her eyes stay on you longer. Then she asks a question that feels personal, almost intimate. You answer casually, thinking it's nothing, and suddenly the energy shifts. The moment disappears. You walk away believing she was just being polite. Here's the truth. That moment was not friendliness. It was desire checking your awareness. Women do not chase older men. They rarely make obvious moves. When attraction is real, they test instead, quietly, subtly. And if you miss that test, most women will not offer it again. Many men over 40 believe they are no longer desired. They assume attraction fades with age. That belief is wrong. Women often crave older men more than ever, but they expect something different now. Calmness, emotional control, direction, presence. When a woman feels drawn to an older man, she asks two specific questions. They sound harmless, almost casual, but beneath them is sexual curiosity and emotional invitation. Those questions are designed to reveal whether you are open, grounded, and masculine enough to step into intimacy. I will explain both questions clearly. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to wake you up. Let's get into it. Number 1. Why women desire older men quietly. Face the truth, folks. Women do not desire older men loudly. They do it quietly, carefully, and with intention. Desire at this stage of life is not playful flirting or obvious chasing. It is measured curiosity, controlled emotion, and subtle testing. When a woman is drawn to an older man, she is not looking for excitement alone. She is looking for steadiness, presence, and a kind of masculine calm she can lean into. Here is what many men misunderstand. Women do not become less sexual with age. Their desire becomes more selective. They stop advertising interest and start observing instead. They watch how a man carries himself, how he listens, how he responds when nothing is being asked directly. Quiet desire is not weakness. It is discernment. Consider Mark, 52, recently divorced, living in Austin. He meets Lisa, 47, at a small wine bar after work. The conversation flows easily. Lisa asks about his routines, his weekends, his pace of life. Mark answers politely but casually. He assumes she is just being friendly. What he misses is that Lisa is already imagining what it would feel like to be close to him. She is not flirting. She is sensing. Let us be honest for a moment. Women learn early that direct desire often backfires. Especially with older men, they fear being seen as needy or intrusive. So they soften attraction into curiosity. They ask questions instead of making moves. They listen instead of leaning forward. Desire hides inside awareness. From a Stoic perspective, this makes perfect sense. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that calm presence reveals character faster than words. A woman drawn to an older man is testing that presence. She wants to feel emotional safety before physical closeness. She wants to know if his strength is stable or performative. Here is another example. Daniel, 58, meets Claire, 49, through mutual friends in San Diego. During dinner, Claire does not compliment Daniel. She does not touch him. Instead, she watches how he speaks, how he pauses, how comfortable he is with silence. Her desire grows not from what he says, but from how grounded he remains. That is quiet attraction at work. Now face the facts, my friend. Quiet desire feels dangerous because it requires awareness. It demands that you slow down, read energy, and trust your presence. Many men rush to fill silence with words, jokes, or explanations. That breaks the spell. Women crave the man who can hold space without forcing direction. This is not about manipulation, it is about self-mastery. A grounded man does not chase signals. He notices them. He allows attraction to unfold naturally. When you learn this, you stop guessing and start sensing. That shift alone separates experienced men from confused ones. It changes how women feel near you instantly without effort or performance or trying too hard today. The truth is simple. Loud desire seeks validation. Quiet desire seeks alignment. Women crave older men because maturity often brings emotional control, direction, and depth. But only when those qualities are real. Quiet desire appears when a woman senses a man who is settled within himself. If you miss this, you assume nothing is happening. If you notice it, everything changes. Write this in the comments if this sounds familiar. I have seen this. Stick with me because this is just the beginning. You do not want to miss what comes next. Number 2. How women test attraction without touch. Let's speak plainly for a moment, folks. When a woman feels attraction, especially toward a mature man, she rarely reaches for physical contact first. Touch comes later. Testing comes first. And those tests happen through words, pauses, tone, and emotional pressure. This is not caution. This is feminine intelligence at work. Women understand something most men overlook. Physical contact is easy to fake. Presence is not. So before she ever moves closer, she watches how you hold yourself when nothing physical is happening. She listens to how you respond when a question carries emotional weight. She notices whether you stay grounded or rush to impress. This is why attraction is often tested without touch. A woman wants to feel your steadiness before she feels your body. She wants to sense emotional safety before physical closeness. From her perspective, touch without trust creates risk. Observation without touch creates clarity. Here is where many men get confused. They believe attraction must show up as flirting, compliments, or physical signals. But for women, especially those with life experience, attraction shows up as curiosity paired with restraint. She watches how you handle silence. She notices whether you speak with intention or fill space with noise. She tests whether your calm is real or just a performance. Epictetus said that freedom is secured not by the fulfillment of desire, but by the removal of craving. That wisdom applies here. A man who craves validation leaks it through his behavior. A man who is centered does not. Women sense this difference immediately. They test attraction by placing subtle emotional weight on a moment and seeing whether you collapse under it or remain steady. Another Stoic insight matters here. Seneca reminded us that the greatest power is having power over oneself. When a woman asks something personal without touching you, she is measuring that self-command. She wants to know if your emotions lead you or if you lead them. Touch would only distract from that assessment. So she asks questions. She slows the conversation. She creates a pause. She waits. This is not manipulation. This is selection. A woman testing attraction without touch is asking herself a quiet question. Does this man feel safe to move toward? Not physically safe, but emotionally stable. Does he respond with clarity or confusion? Does he remain present or seek approval? Most men answer these moments too literally. They focus on content instead of context. They miss that the test is not about information, it is about energy. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, character is revealed in small moments, not grand gestures. These tests are small moments. They reveal everything. A grounded man does not rush to close distance. He does not force humor. He does not lean in emotionally too fast. He stays aware. He listens fully. He responds simply. That restraint signals strength, and strength is what allows desire to grow safely. Understand this clearly. Attraction without touch is not absence of desire. It is desire checking your readiness. When you pass this test, touch follows naturally. When you fail it, the door closes quietly. If you recognize this pattern, write this in the comments. I have felt this. Stay with me because this is where it starts to go deeper. You do not want to miss what comes next. Number 3. Why sexual interest starts with questions. Be honest with yourself for a moment, folks. Sexual interest does not begin with touch, flirting, or bold moves. It begins with curiosity. When a woman feels drawn to a man, especially a mature man, her desire shows up first as questions, not random questions, personal ones, questions that quietly test whether intimacy is possible. Most men misunderstand this completely. They think questions are just conversation fillers. They assume a woman asking about their life is being polite or friendly. But when sexual interest is present, questions carry weight. They are not about gathering facts. They are about feeling connection. Here is why questions come first. For women, desire is not separate from safety. Before her body opens, her mind must feel at ease. She needs to sense emotional steadiness before physical closeness. Questions create that bridge. They allow her to step closer without risk. Take Tom, 54, living in Denver. He meets Rachel, 46, at a neighborhood gathering. They talk about work, travel, everyday things. Then Rachel asks how he spends his evenings and whether he enjoys solitude. Tom answers quickly and moves on. What he does not realize is that Rachel is not curious about his schedule. She is imagining herself in his world. Her question is the first step toward intimacy. Here is another situation. Michael, 59, meets Sarah, 51, through friends in Seattle. Sarah listens carefully as he speaks. She notices his calm. Then she asks what he is looking for at this stage of life. Michael laughs it off and gives a vague answer. The moment shifts. Sarah feels uncertainty and pulls back. Sexual interest does not disappear loudly. It fades quietly. Straight talk now. Women use questions the way men use actions. A man shows interest by doing something, offering help, creating direction. A woman shows interest by asking something that opens emotional space. Questions are her way of leaning in without touching. This is especially true with older men. Women assume maturity brings awareness. They expect a man to recognize deeper signals. When he misses them, desire stalls. Not because she loses attraction, but because she feels unseen. Questions allow her to test 3 things: your openness, your emotional awareness, your steadiness. When she asks, she is watching how you respond. Do you rush? Do you close off? Do you stay present? The content matters less than the energy behind your answer. A man who understands this does not over-explain. He does not perform. He answers with calm confidence. That response tells her more than compliments ever could. Sexual interest that begins with questions is subtle, but it is real. When you learn to hear what is underneath her words, you stop guessing. You stop missing moments that matter. You begin responding from presence, not confusion. If this feels familiar, write this in the comments. I have seen this. Stay with me because the next part reveals what those questions really are. You do not want to miss this. Number 4. The hidden desire behind her curiosity. Let's look at this clearly, folks. When a woman becomes curious about you, that curiosity is rarely neutral. It is not random, and it is almost never innocent. Behind her questions, there is often a quiet form of desire, trying to move forward without exposing itself too soon. Women do not become curious about men they feel nothing for. Curiosity requires energy, emotional attention, intent. When a woman asks about your life, your routines, your direction, she is not browsing information. She is sensing whether closeness with you would feel safe, steady, and rewarding. Her curiosity is desire wearing a mask. Here is the part most men miss. Women are taught through experience to protect their emotional energy. Desire makes them vulnerable. So instead of expressing attraction directly, they explore, they probe, they observe. Curiosity becomes a shield that allows desire to exist without risk. This is especially true when the man is older because the stakes feel higher. She assumes maturity, she assumes depth, and she needs to confirm it before stepping closer. Stoicism explains this beautifully. Marcus Aurelius wrote that what stands in the way becomes the way. For women, the obstacle of fear transforms into curiosity. Instead of saying what she feels, she asks. Instead of reaching forward, she watches. Her curiosity is not hesitation, it is discernment. Understand this, my friend. When a woman is curious, she is not bored. She is measuring. She is feeling into your emotional landscape. Is there warmth here? Is there presence? Is there clarity? Can this man handle closeness without losing himself or overwhelming me? Curiosity allows her to ask those questions silently. Many men respond to curiosity by explaining too much. They overshare, they justify, they rush to prove worth. That breaks the spell. Curiosity is meant to be met with calm, not performance. A steady man allows curiosity to unfold naturally. He does not chase it, he respects it. Epictetus taught that people are disturbed not by things, but by their view of things. Women are disturbed not by attraction, but by uncertainty. Curiosity reduces uncertainty. It gives her space to feel desire without danger. When a man stays grounded in these moments, her curiosity deepens into trust. Trust then becomes attraction. Attraction becomes intimacy. This is why her curiosity feels layered. She may ask something light, then something deeper, then pull back slightly. That rhythm is intentional. She is testing whether you can remain centered through emotional shifts. If you can, desire grows quietly. If you cannot, curiosity fades. Here is the hard truth. A woman rarely tells you she is curious because she wants to sleep with you. She shows you by staying engaged, by asking, by leaning in emotionally. If you dismiss that curiosity, you dismiss her desire, and most women will not try again. Seneca reminded us that true power is quiet. Female desire is the same. It does not announce itself. It observes, it approaches softly, and it withdraws just as quietly when it feels unseen. If you want to understand women at this stage of life, you must respect curiosity as desire in motion, not curiosity as small talk, not curiosity as friendliness, but curiosity as a doorway. If this insight is opening your eyes, this is exactly the kind of deeper understanding we explore inside the members area. If you want to go further, consider joining the channel membership and learning how these dynamics play out in real moments, not theory. Write this in the comments if this resonates. I felt that. Stay with me because the next part reveals the first question every woman asks when desire is real. Don't go anywhere. Number 5. The first question that signals desire. Let's speak honestly, folks. When a woman feels real attraction toward an older man, the first question she asks is never random. It sounds casual, almost harmless, but it carries weight. This question is not about information. It is about access. It is her way of asking whether there is space for her in your life. The question usually shows up in simple forms. Do you spend a lot of time alone? Do you usually go out by yourself? Are you seeing anyone these days, or mostly doing your own thing? On the surface, it feels like small talk. In reality, it is the first emotional door she opens. Here is what she is really asking. Are you open or closed? Are you emotionally available or locked inside your routines? Can I step closer without being pushed away? Women do not waste emotional energy. They test before they invest. Take Robert, 56, living in Phoenix. He meets Emily, 48, at a neighborhood coffee shop they both frequent. After a few friendly conversations, Emily asks him one morning if he usually comes alone or meets friends here. Robert shrugs and answers quickly, saying he likes his quiet time and keeps to himself. He means nothing by it, but Emily hears something else. She hears a closed door. Her curiosity fades. Now consider a different moment. James, 51, lives outside Chicago. He meets Laura, 45, through mutual friends at a casual dinner. During the evening, Laura asks if James enjoys spending time alone or prefers company. James smiles and says he values his space, but always makes room for good people and meaningful connection. Laura feels warmth. Possibility. The door stays open. See the difference, my friend? The question did not change. The answer did. This first question is never about loneliness. Women are not checking whether you are desperate or bored. They are checking whether closeness is welcome. A man who sounds guarded feels emotionally unavailable. A man who sounds open without neediness feels safe. Women crave safety before intimacy. Especially with older men, they assume emotional history, past wounds, and established habits. They do not want to become an afterthought, so they ask this question quietly, hoping to feel invited without asking directly. Many men fail here because they answer too literally. They think in facts instead of energy. They hear a question and respond like it is a survey. But she is listening for tone, not content. Calm openness matters more than details. This is where self-mastery comes in. A grounded man does not rush. He does not overshare. He does not defend his independence. He answers with balance. He shows he has a full life but not a closed one. That balance signals strength. When a woman feels that signal, her body relaxes. Her curiosity deepens. Her desire feels safer. That is why this question comes first. Without openness, nothing else follows. If you miss this moment, she rarely repeats it. Women do not push where they feel resistance. They withdraw quietly and move on. If you have experienced this, write this in the comments. I have seen this. Stick with me, because the next part reveals the second question that changes everything. You do not want to miss this. Number 6. What emotional availability means to women. Let's speak plainly again, folks. Emotional availability does not mean talking about feelings all day. It does not mean oversharing your past or explaining every thought in your head. For women, emotional availability is something they feel long before they can describe it. It is a signal that a man is open, present, and internally steady. Many men misunderstand this idea completely. They think being emotionally available means being soft, agreeable, or emotionally expressive. That misunderstanding costs them attraction. Women are not looking for emotional exposure. They are looking for emotional stability. They want to feel that you can be close without collapsing, present without clinging, and open without losing your center. Emotional availability begins with self-command. A woman senses it in how you listen, how you pause, and how you respond when something personal enters the conversation. She notices whether you stay grounded or become reactive. She notices whether you can sit with emotion without trying to control it or escape it. This is where Stoic wisdom becomes powerful. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A man whose inner world is chaotic feels unpredictable. A man whose inner world is ordered feels safe. Emotional availability is not about saying the right thing. It is about carrying a regulated inner state. Women are especially sensitive to this because intimacy amplifies emotion. Before a woman opens emotionally or physically, she needs to feel that your presence will not overwhelm her nervous system. She is asking herself a quiet question. Can this man hold space without making me responsible for his emotions? Here is the distinction that matters. Emotional availability is not emotional need. Need repels. Availability attracts. Need asks to be filled. Availability offers room. When a man appears emotionally needy, women feel pressure. When a man appears emotionally available, women feel invitation. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. Emotional availability is self-mastery made visible. It is the ability to feel without being ruled by feeling, to engage without being consumed, to connect without surrendering direction. This is why women test for emotional availability through questions and pauses rather than declarations. They are watching how you respond when there is no script. Do you rush to reassure? Do you withdraw? Do you become defensive? Or do you remain calm and present? A grounded man does not try to prove emotional availability. He embodies it. He listens fully. He speaks clearly. He does not rush closeness, and he does not fear it either. That balance tells a woman she can step forward safely. Another Stoic insight matters here. Seneca wrote that a man who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than necessary. Emotional unavailability often comes from fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loss, fear of vulnerability. A man who has faced these fears quietly carries less tension. Women feel that absence of tension immediately. Understand this clearly. Emotional availability is not something you perform. It is something you cultivate internally. When it is real, women stop questioning it. They relax into it. Attraction grows without force. If this resonates, write this in the comments. I understand this. Stay with me because the next part reveals the second question women ask when desire deepens. You do not want to miss what comes next. Number 7. The second question that tests masculinity. Let's face the truth together, folks. When a woman asks the second question, attraction has already moved past curiosity. This question is not about conversation anymore. It is about masculinity. It is her way of testing whether the man in front of her is anchored, directed, and emotionally alive. The question often sounds simple. What are you looking for these days? What do you want at this stage of life? Where are you headed right now? On the surface, it feels like casual talk, but underneath it, she is asking something far more serious. Do you know who you are? Do you know where you stand? And do you move through life with intention? Women do not open themselves to men who drift, especially not mature women. By this point in life, they have learned that drifting creates instability. They are not looking for perfection, they are looking for direction. This second question is her way of checking whether your masculinity has a spine. Consider Stephen, 57, living in Northern California. He meets Angela, 51, through a social group. The connection feels easy. There is warmth and light tension. Then Angela asks what Stephen is looking for these days. Stephen shrugs and says he is just taking life one day at a time and seeing what happens. He thinks he sounds relaxed. Angela hears something else. She hears uncertainty. The energy cools. Now, contrast that with another moment. Brian, 53, meets Michelle, 48, at a community event in Boston. When Michelle asks the same question, Brian answers calmly. He says he is building a grounded, meaningful chapter with the right people and experiences. He does not oversell it. He does not explain his entire life. He simply shows direction. Michelle feels it immediately. His masculinity feels steady, not forced. This is the heart of the second question. Women are not asking for your plans. They are sensing your inner direction. They want to know if you are emotionally awake or just passing time. If you are still led by old stories or living intentionally in the present. Let's be clear here. Masculinity is not dominance. It is direction. A man with direction does not rush. He does not apologize for his pace. He knows what matters to him and moves accordingly. That energy creates safety. and safety is what allows desire to deepen. Many men fail this test by being vague. They think openness means uncertainty. It does not. Women hear vague answers as lack of leadership. Not leadership over them, but leadership over self. A man who cannot lead himself cannot be trusted with intimacy. This is especially true for older men. Women assume you have lived enough to know who you are. When you answer this question with confusion, it creates doubt. When you answer it with calm clarity, it creates pull. Here is the quiet part most men never notice. When a woman asks this question, she is already imagining closeness. She is asking herself whether stepping closer would feel grounded or chaotic. Your answer decides that. Sexual attraction at this stage of life is deeply tied to respect. Respect for your direction, respect for your self-command, respect for your emotional maturity. This second question tests all of that at once. If this moment sounds familiar, write this in the comments. I've seen this. Stay with me because the next part explains why direction creates sexual safety for women. You don't want to miss what comes next. Number 8. Why direction creates sexual safety. Let's be very clear here, folks. Sexual safety for women does not come from words, charm, or promises. It comes from direction. A woman feels safe with a man when she senses that his life is moving somewhere, that his inner world is ordered, and that his presence is steady enough to hold her without confusion. Many men think sexual attraction is about excitement. That belief is shallow. For women, especially mature women, attraction deepens where safety exists. And safety is created by direction. Direction tells her that you are not drifting, not lost, and not emotionally asleep. It tells her that closeness with you will not turn chaotic. Direction is not about having everything figured out. It is about knowing what matters and moving accordingly. A man with direction does not need to explain himself endlessly. His choices align. His words match his pace. His presence feels grounded. Women feel this immediately, often without knowing why. Stoic philosophy explains this dynamic clearly. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a man should live in accordance with nature, guided by reason rather than impulse. Direction is reason made visible. A man who lives with intention feels predictable in the best way, not boring but stable. And stability is what allows desire to relax instead of guard itself. Sexual safety is not passive. It is active reassurance without effort. When a woman senses direction, her nervous system calms. She does not have to manage you, guess your motives, or wonder where things are going. That calm opens the door for intimacy. Without it, desire stays guarded. This is why women listen so closely when men speak about their lives. They are not evaluating success. They are sensing coherence. Is this man aligned with himself? Does he move with purpose or float between moods? Does he respond thoughtfully or react emotionally? Direction answers all of that without needing explanation. Epictetus taught that the key to strength is knowing what is within your control. Direction shows that you know this. A man who chases every impulse feels unstable. A man who chooses deliberately feels safe. Women are drawn to that safety because it protects their emotional investment. Here is where many men fail. They believe openness means uncertainty. They say they are just seeing where things go, taking life day by day, avoiding labels or direction. They think this sounds relaxed. To women, it sounds unanchored. Lack of direction feels like emotional risk. Direction does not mean pressure. It means clarity. It means you know what you want from life and relationships without forcing outcomes. That balance is powerful. It allows a woman to step closer without fear of being pulled into confusion or emotional labor. Seneca reminded us that a man who knows where he is going makes the journey easier for others. Direction makes intimacy easier. It creates a sense that connection will be held, not mishandled. That feeling awakens desire at a deeper level than surface attraction ever could. Understand this truth. Women do not crave control. They crave clarity. Direction provides that clarity. It tells her that intimacy with you will feel contained, respectful, and emotionally grounded. If this insight resonates, write this in the comments. I want this. Stay with me, because the next part reveals how men miss these signals entirely. You don't want to miss what comes next. Number 9. How men miss obvious desire signals. Let's be straight about this, folks. Most men do not miss desire because women are unclear. They miss it because they are listening with logic instead of awareness. They hear words, but they miss intention. They notice conversation, but they ignore energy. And by the time they realize what happened, the moment is already gone. Men are trained to look for direct signals, compliments, flirting, physical touch, clear invitations. When those signals do not appear, they assume nothing is happening. That assumption is exactly where desire dies. Especially for older men, women express interest in quieter ways, expecting awareness, not instruction. Take David, 58, living in Tampa. He meets Karen, 52, at a mutual friend's barbecue. Karen stays close to him during the afternoon. She laughs easily. She asks about his routines, his weekends, how he spends his evenings. David answers politely, but keeps the conversation surface level. He thinks she is just being social. What he misses is that Karen is already testing whether closeness feels possible. When he fails to notice, she slowly redirects her attention elsewhere. Another example. Paul, 53, from Portland, reconnects with Susan, 49, through an online conversation that turns into coffee. Susan listens carefully. She maintains eye contact. She asks what Paul is looking for at this stage of life. Paul shrugs and gives a vague answer, thinking he sounds relaxed. Susan hears drift. Her interest cools. Paul later wonders why the connection faded so quickly. Here is the pattern. Men miss signals because they answer questions instead of responding to meaning. They focus on what is being asked, not why it is being asked. Women are not looking for perfect answers. They are watching how you carry yourself while answering. Another common mistake is nervous over-explanation. When a woman asks something personal, many men rush to justify, clarify, or explain themselves. They talk too much. They fill silence. That behavior signals insecurity. Desire pulls back when it senses pressure. Men also miss signals by assuming women will repeat them. They believe that if interest is real, she will try again. That is rarely true. Women test once, sometimes twice. If the response feels closed or unaware, they withdraw quietly. No drama, no confrontation, just absence. Consider Michael, 60, in New Jersey. He meets Elaine, 54, through a walking group. Over several weeks, Elaine consistently checks in, asks about his day, and engages emotionally. Michael enjoys the attention, but never deepens the exchange. He assumes if she wanted more, she would say so. Eventually, Elaine stops reaching out. Michael feels confused. The signal was there, he just did not recognize it. This is not about blame, it is about awareness. Women expect older men to notice subtle cues. They assume maturity brings perception. When that perception is missing, attraction collapses. Sexual desire at this stage of life is quiet, but it is not weak. It requires presence. It requires listening beyond words. It requires understanding that questions are invitations, not curiosity. When men miss these signals, they often tell themselves a comforting story. She was just being friendly. She probably was not interested anyway. That story protects the ego, but it blocks growth. If you learn to notice energy shifts, question patterns and emotional timing, desire becomes obvious. It stops feeling mysterious. It starts feeling clear. If this has happened to you, write this in the comments. I have seen this. Stick with me, because the final part shows what happens when you recognize desire before the door closes. You do not want to miss this. Number 10. When desire appears, then disappears forever. Let's slow this down for a moment, folks, because this is where most men finally understand what has been happening all along. Desire does not disappear because you did something wrong in a dramatic way. It disappears because it was not recognized when it mattered. And once that window closes, it rarely opens again. Female desire, especially toward a mature man, is time-sensitive, not rushed but precise. When a woman feels drawn to you, she creates a brief emotional opening. She becomes curious, she asks, she leans in energetically. That opening is not permanent. It exists only as long as she feels seen, understood, and emotionally safe. Here is the hard reality many men resist. Women do not announce desire. They offer it quietly and watch what you do with it. If it is met with awareness, it deepens. If it is met with confusion, distraction, or emotional distance, it closes. And when it closes cleanly. This is why men are often shocked when interest seems to vanish overnight. They replay conversations. They search for mistakes. But nothing obvious happened. That is because the moment was missed internally, not externally. Desire was present, but it was not met. A woman rarely explains why she pulls away. Explaining would require vulnerability without safety. Instead, she withdraws her energy. The warmth fades. The questions stop. The connection becomes polite or distant. To her, the invitation was offered and unanswered. To the man, it feels sudden and confusing. This is not punishment. It is self-protection. Women invest emotionally before they invest physically. When that investment is not received, they redirect it. They do not linger in uncertainty, especially at this stage of life. Here is something most men never consider. Desire disappearing does not mean it was weak. It means it was strong enough to require confirmation, and confirmation did not arrive. Stoic wisdom teaches us that opportunities are not permanent possessions. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that everything exists for a moment, then moves on. Desire follows the same law. It appears, waits briefly, and then flows elsewhere if ignored. This is why awareness matters more than technique. You cannot force desire back once it retreats. You cannot explain your way into attraction. You can only be present when it appears. That presence is what women respond to. For mature men, this lesson is critical. Women assume you have lived enough to recognize moments that matter. When you miss them, it signals emotional absence, not innocence. And emotional absence ends attraction quickly. Desire that disappears forever does not leave behind anger or drama. It leaves behind silence. And silence is the clearest answer you will ever receive. The good news is this. Once you understand how desire shows up, you stop missing it. You stop waiting for obvious signs. You start noticing timing, energy, and questions. You respond with calm, openness, and direction. That changes everything. This is not about chasing women. It is about meeting the moment when it arrives. Desire does not ask twice. It offers once and waits. If you are present, it grows. If you are not, it moves on. Remember this. A woman does not test your words. She tests your awareness. When you learn to recognize that desire no longer feels mysterious or fleeting, it becomes something you can sense, respect, and respond to with confidence. That awareness is what separates men who wonder from men who know. So here's what matters, folks. Today you learned why women desire older men quietly, how attraction shows up through questions, and why awareness matters more than charm or effort. This video was not about chasing signals. It was about understanding how desire actually works, especially at this stage of life. When you recognize these moments, you stop guessing. You stop missing doors that only open once, and you start responding with calm presence and direction. If you want to go deeper into these dynamics, into how masculine clarity, emotional control, and Stoic principles shape attraction in real life, consider joining the channel membership. That's where we break these ideas down even further, without filters and without fluff. If this content helps you see things more clearly, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you for spending your time here. I appreciate you. I'll see you again tomorrow.